Hey everyone, James here with Rokoko, and I'm back with another tutorial. This time I have a tutorial for our Cinema4D users. If you're looking to learn how to attach your Smartsuit Pro animations to your characters, this is definitely the tutorial for you. So I'm going to go over and teach you how to export out an animation from Studio, import both your character and your animation in Cinema4D, and apply them together. So let's go ahead and get started. So as you see here, I do have Studio open, and I'm gonna go ahead and just use our stand-up animation that we have here in our sample project. Just go ahead and play it for you, but this is just how it's gonna look. And so I'm ready to now export out this animation. So what I'm gonna do is click on our export button down here, and this is our export options. The only thing that I want to change here is our skeleton type, because I know our character is actually going to use Mixamo's rig, and so what we can do is change the skeleton type to mixamo, and then I'm going to leave everything else the same. So once I go ahead and hit export, it's going to export out to our folder that's here in our export path, and we're going to be ready to go ahead and import this into Cinema4D. So let me go ahead and switch on over to that. Alright, so here we are in Cinema4D, and what I'm going to do now is import both of our character and then the animation that we just exported out. So let's go ahead and import our character first by going to File, Open, and then this is our character here, the hacker. And I'll make sure to go ahead and leave in the description where you can download this this character if you want to use the same character. But once you click to upload an FBX of a character, you'll see this import settings. We're just going to leave everything the same and just click it OK. And then this is our character here, the hacker. And then once we do that, we're going to want to import our animation that we exported out as well. So we'll go back to File, but instead of Open, we're going to go ahead and click Merge, because we're going to be merging two files together. So click Merge, and then we're going to go ahead and find the animation that we have, which should be in here, our stand-up mixamo. So go ahead and hit Open. And same thing, you want to make sure, it's just the default settings. Main important thing for this animation is that make sure that tracks is definitely checked for your animation. Otherwise, it's only going to import the skeleton. So once everything's good, hit OK. And now we have our animation right here. And so before we actually get started, let's do a little cleanup, because it looks like things are getting a little crazy over here in our hierarchy. So the first thing that I want to do is actually group all of these meshes together. And to do that, I'm going to go ahead and click on Default and then hold Shift and then click Bottoms so I can highlight all of these. And I'm going to right click, and then I'm going to go down to Group Objects, and it's going to put everything within a null layer. And I can go ahead and rename this to Mesh. And so this is where all of my meshes will hang out. And then now I have just the mesh and then the two rigs. So this top one is our animation rig, and the bottom one is our character rig. So I'm going to go ahead and actually just rename this just so that we know. I'm just going to put character right in front of this one. Okay. And then the next thing that we want to do, I'm going to go ahead and just put our rigs on their separate layers. So if I want to go ahead and toggle on and off the visibility, I can. So in order to do that, we'll do this one first. I'm going to right click on our top one, and then I'm going to select the children so that it selects all of the different joints that are under this. And then I'm going to go ahead and right click again, and then I'm going to go to Add to New Layer. And then once I do that, it's going to add them to a layer, but in order to see the layers, you want to go ahead and click on this tab down here. And this is our new layer right here. I'm going to go ahead and just double click that and rename it to Animation. And then now if I click this eyeball button, I can go ahead and toggle it on and off. And I'm just going to do the same thing for the skeleton that's on our character as well. So we'll right click this. We'll go to Select Children, and then right click again, and then go to Add to New Layer. And then now you'll see a new layer pop up here. I'll double click this, and I'll just put character underscore rig. And then now I can do the same thing. I can toggle it on and off. Alright, so we'll just keep that there for now. And then essentially now what we want to do is The way that we're going to link our animation together with our character is essentially through constraints. So we're going to constrain each joint from the animation rig to our character rig so that when there's movement on this rig, it's going to happen on our character as well. So as you can see now, let me go ahead and actually expand that out. If I click play, my animation is playing, but just only on the rig. So we're going to go ahead and make it so that when we constrain all of the joints together, it's going to make our character also be animated. So let's go ahead and get started with that. So let me move him back. And the way you just essentially do that is we're going to go through each of the joints individually. And I'll show you the process. It's fairly simple, but it can be a bit manual. So we'll start with our hips on our character. We're going to right click. We're going to go to character tags, and then you'll see constraint. And then in order to see, you'll have to go back to your attributes, click on this, and then you can see your constraint down here. And so these are all of the different constraints once you've created that tag. The only one that we're going to be using for this tutorial is the PSR, and that's your position, scale, and rotation. So we'll go ahead and click that check mark, and then you'll see this the PSR tab pop up right here, and we'll click on that. And so this is where we can assign a target for our joint. And we also want to expand out our offset, because if we just go ahead and assign a target, once we assign a particular joint, it'll automatically, if we don't have maintain original on, it'll move this joint directly on top of this joint, and we don't want that to happen. So every time you create a new constraint tag, just remember to click maintain original so that it keeps it in its same position. So for their hips, we're going to do that, and then we're going to drag our mixamo rig hips right down into where it says target right here. And that's pretty much it. So we want to do this for all of our joints, and so it's going to be a bit of a monotonous process, so I'm going to go ahead and fast forward the video for you guys. Alright, so we've gone ahead and applied all of our joints as targets in our constraints, and you can see that by just clicking on this icon, and you see all of our targets are now exactly what they should be. And you know, it's fairly easy, especially if you use the mixamo rig and the mixamo skeleton that we exported out of Studio, because all of the naming convention is essentially the same, so it makes it really easy to line up which joint goes to which other joint. So now that we've aligned them all, we can go ahead and now test it out and just see if it works. And yep, it looks like things are good. Let me go ahead and turn off our back animation layer and then our character rig, and then this is what it looks like. That looks pretty good. So hopefully you guys learned how to essentially apply your studio animations to characters in Cinema4D. And I definitely look forward to seeing what you guys are able to create in this program. And until next time, thanks for watching, guys.